Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the funeral services of Mrs. Rachel Brody. For those of you online, we welcome you and the family appreciates your presence. Officiating this afternoon is Rabbi Herzl Hillel Yitzchak from the Sephardic congregation.
The Psalm of David, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We're gathered here to pay our respect to our dear friend, Rachel Brody, Rachel bat Rivka. Rachel Brody was born in Chicago on December 2nd, 1929, to Louis and Rebecca Meshulam. She was the seventh of 8 children. Rachel encompassed many roles. She was the beloved wife of the late Sheldon Brody, the loving mother of Reed and Sally Brody, Avi Baruch and fiancée Carrie Green, and Chaim and Courtney Brody. She reveled in her grandchildren, Mandy, Michael, Shelby, Jacob, Casey, Sam, Louis, and Mac. She was a dear sister of the late Morris Meshulam, Charles and Minnie Meshulam, Esther and Morris Calderon, Hyman Meshulam, Rose and Jerry Schley, Serene and Al Azus, and Jack and Shelley Meshulam. She was also a treasured daughter-in-law to Barney and Eva Brody, and sister-in-law to Evie and Raymond Borden, and Harvey and Helena Brody. Rachel married her dear husband Sheldon in 1952, and their children speak glowingly of their parents' loving and mutual supportive relationships, and of the couple's devotion to each other and to family. Every Saturday night was reserved as the couple's date night, when they would go out for dinner. In their traditional relationship, this tradition was unbreakable. During Sheldon's illness, Rachel tended to him constantly for 2 years until he passed away as a result of a stroke at the age of 62. This left her a 60-year-old widow. Later, she developed a companionship with Maury Cooper, which endured for 2 decades. Our rabbis in the Talmud teach, Ben Tish'im Lasuach, the decade when a person reaches the age of 90 is a time optimal for sicha. Sicha is an interesting word which denotes both speech and prayer. It's a type of prayer where it sounds like you're having a conversation with God. I believe that Rachel Brody has reached this milestone even before the age of 90. Every conversation with Rachel ended with the other person feeling more blessed than before. Rachel was effusive in her praise, her gratitude, her love, and every casual conversation with her was filled with prayers and blessings and words of encouragement. Rachel was a master at organization, order, harmony, and balance. I would think that someone with her keen eye for beauty, harmony, and order would see and point out the imperfections and imbalances all the time, but she did not. She did not see them. She saw the good, the effort, the admirable. That is greatness. That is nobility. That is dignity. To be a person who has an eye for perfection and to then see imperfection, but not to see the deficiencies, but rather to focus and admire all the goodness that there is. That is a person who has true nobility of spirit. As a congregation rabbi, I can say without exaggeration that I had merited to witness this character trait in Rachel, that she's so polished. Rachel did not have anything negative to say about anyone or any situation. We live in an imperfect world. And Rachel was a person who liked organization and order. There could have been many opportunities for complaint, comment, some constructive criticism, but never in all the years of my rabbinic position at the Sephardic congregation did I ever hear her utter a negative comment about anyone or about any given situation. On the contrary, she always complimented everything, and even those things that were not compliment worthy, she admired them. In that sense, she was the healthiest person I knew. Let me explain. In Hebrew, the word for healthy is bari. The root of the word bari is bara. The word bara also means to create. More specifically, to create something from nothing. A person can create bara, something from nothing, something extraordinary, from nothing special at all. Such a person is a bari, is considered to have optimal character health. It's not an accident that Rachel lived to the age of 91. She lived through a world war, world tragedies, as well as personal family tragedies. Two of her brothers passed away at a young age, Morris at 18 and Hyman at 24. Her sister, Serene, also passed away at the age of 24. Rachel had a broken engagement and was a widow at a relatively young age of 60. Yet what is the secret to her endurance? People are like stained glass windows. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out. But when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is revealed only if there's light from within. That was Rachel's secret. Her inner spark, her inner light. She never allowed life's circumstances to dim the light within her. And we were all recipients of that light. We were all the recipients of Rachel's largesse and her generosity of spirit. She was effusive with her compliments and always made us feel like we were special and important. Rachel simply did not hear the deficiencies in people and the deficiencies of the world. Rabbi Nachman, the great Hasidic thinker, tells us a story of a very young couple who get married in the forest under very bare circumstances. The wedding guests which arrive and bless the young couple are actually 7 beggars. One of the beggars who was hard of hearing blessed the young couple. "I bless you that you should be like me." He then revealed to them that in truth he was not hard of hearing at all. In fact, his hearing was the most ideal hearing in the world because he chose not to hear any deficiencies, flaws, and shortcomings of people. He chose not to hear, and therefore did not incorporate into his personality the deficiencies of people, of life circumstances, and of the universe. He, like Rachel, knew the secret of how to take whatever comes your way in the journey of life and turn it into something wonderful, something admirable, something fantastic. Such a person who does not hear the bad because they do not see it as bad is a magnet for good. And that was Rachel. She was a magnet. She nurtured close ties to all of her siblings and was regarded as the glue of the family. She was the focal point towards which all family members gravitated at holiday times and celebrations. Friends and family members who would come from other countries were welcomed by her and were showered with love and attention. And even when there was a great void, like the passing of her dear brother Charlie, she focused all of her attention at filling the void by coming to our synagogue more often and deepening the already close relationships with her family members, like Shelley, who was her sister-in-law, but whom she loved and cared for like a sister. In speaking to Reed, Ivy, and Chaim a few days ago, they mentioned that of all the siblings, their mother was the last one. She was the last one to hold the burning torch up high. Reed, Ivy, Chaim, I want to tell you that your dear mother was not the last one. She certainly held the torch with so much nobility, with such dignity, but she passed this torch on to you. When you come to synagogue, when you pray, when you live up to the ideals and standards your mother held dear, you're continuing the legacy and you continue to transmit the flame of the torch to the next generation. Your mother would live on and her name will be carried on through you. May God bless Rachel Brody and may she rest in eternal peace. Amen. I would like to now call upon Reed Brody to share a few words with us.
Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of my sister Ivy and my brother Chaim, I want to express our sincerest gratitude to each and every one of you for being part of our mother's life. 3.5 years ago, with the loss of our beloved Aunt Shelley, who was more of a sister to my mom than a sister-in-law, and the loss of her companion of 20 years, Maury Cooper, Mom really didn't want to live. She'd always say, why am I the only one left? And we would say, hello, Mom, we're all still here. You're not the only one left. We're all still here with you. And it really wasn't what she meant, but it did get her thinking. It was around that time we began to realize that for her personal safety and general well-being, she would need a new living situation with access to peers whom she could relate to and commiserate with. She enjoyed her beautiful condo and wasn't so keen on moving. The choice between having live-in help or moving to an assisted living facility was a hard decision for her to make, but she ultimately chose Gidwit's place. Together with Ivy, Chaim, and their families, we got Mom moved into Gidwit's. We let her acclimate there, which took a while, and with her blessing, we sold her condo. Things were pretty smooth for a few months, and then Ivy suffered a major stroke. So most of that summer was spent on getting Ivy back on the road to recovery. And it was a very difficult time for everyone, especially Mom. Once Ivy was back home, Mom suffered a series of setbacks resulting in multiple hospital visits. Her health and strength were steadily declining, and we realized that she would need more help than Gidwit's could provide. After some trial and error, two angels emerged in the form of wonderful caregivers, Teresa Gorska and Bojana Spiva, and we established a comfortable routine for Mom and our family. And then COVID hit. With Mom locked down, visits were limited to standing outside and waving to Mom from 5 floors down. It was not very satisfying for anyone. Luckily, we found a device called the Facebook portal, which made it very easy for Mom to video chat and actually see her loved ones. In the summer, when visits were permitted, we took full advantage of them. The scheduled ones on the patio and the unscheduled and unauthorized strolls in which Teresa or Bojana would meet us with Mom and would walk around the Embassy Suites parking lot through the vacant office complex until we got busted. Thankfully, we didn't get Mom kicked out of Gidwitz, and we regret none of it. The clandestine visits, the video calls, the constant companionship of Teresa and Bojana carried Mom through the summer. She stayed relatively healthy with 0 trips to the hospital, amazingly for almost a full year. Her strength during this time is a testament to the relationship she had with everyone around her, regardless of how long or how well she had known them. A Gidwitz staff member once remarked that he had never met a resident who treated everyone with such kindness. That sentiment was echoed many times by residents and various Gidwitz staff. She was a very special person. Mom overcame so much throughout her life, particularly over the last 3 years, but her poised grace and magnificent smile remained. Our family would not be what it is without her, and we will miss her very much. To everyone who's devoted to Rachel, you demonstrated this in countless ways. From the many cards, calls, visits, your love kept her going. The love of our family and always being there for one another are values that have been instilled in us by all our parents, and their parents' parents. Today, all of us honor that tradition by gathering to remember her. And if we continue to live according to these values, everything will be, as she often said in Ladino, todo bueno. Todo bueno.
Thank you, Reed. I'd like to call upon Ivy Baruch and Carrie Green.
My mom was blessed to have lived 91 healthy years. Whether she was a mother to you, a nonna to you, an aunt, great-great-aunt, cousin, or friend, she made a positive impact on everybody's lives. Like a matriarch, Aunt Ray was there for all her nieces and nephews. They all loved her, brought her tatalikus and barekas, which recipes were all handed down and taught to us by Mom. They confided in her and invited her over for many family celebrations. Mom was blessed with 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 3 grand dogs. She felt the love from all of us. Mom always made people feel welcomed into our family. She was sweet, loving, kind, and caring. She was the best of the best. She taught us all the importance of family and kept us together. Everyone loved her so much and would speak of the fond memories of the many holidays and barbecues at our home on Warren Street. Thanks to Mom, we have all carried on the tradition of getting the family together for holidays and other occasions. I feel blessed to have had my mother for 63 years. My mother raised 3 children, and raising my 2 brothers wasn't easy. It's amazing that she survived that. Most of you know my brothers, where are they? And can totally relate. Love you, bros. She was lucky enough to have 2 loves in her life. She was married to my father for over 35 years until he passed away at the young age of 63. Mom was a young widow, and for the next 7 years, she lived her life happily with love of family and friends. Unexpectedly, she ran into an old friend, Maury Cooper. She and Maury were companions for the next 20 years, before his death 3 years ago. She was fortunate to have a second love in her later years. We all loved Maury and accepted him into our family. She was the last one of her generation to pass away, outliving all her brothers and sisters, and often spoke of joining them in heaven. She longed to be with them again. We find peace knowing they are all together now in heaven. All of you being here is a testament to the love you also felt for her. Thank you for celebrating her wonderful life together.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carrie. I'm Ivy's fiance. From the moment I met Nona, I called her Mama Ray. I found her to be a beacon of sunshine, positivity, and smiles. When Ivy first, and finally, introduced me, Ray instantly gave me a most warm and sincere welcome. That's when I knew she also was a very good judge of character. Ray always put everybody else's needs in front of her own. She was famous for also offering guests dessert and coffee as soon as they would arrive. She was especially gifted at offering advice to all of her loved ones, especially to couple relationships. I can hear her say today, even today, always talk out any issues as soon as they arise. Always treat each other with kindness and respect, and never go to bed angry. We miss our beloved Nona, yet I know her loving spirit will remain with us forever.
Thank you, Ivy and Carrie. I'd like to call upon Samuel Brody, please.
Hi, my name is Sam Brody, and Rachel was my Nona. Nona was always very kind, loving, forgiving, and stayed calm under pressure. With this, I wanted to tell the story of when Nona had to watch me and my brothers, Lou and Mac, in 2011. It was a calm winter evening after a long day of third grade. Lou and Mac were tucked into bed, ready to go to sleep, and I was playing Minecraft in the kitchen directly below their rooms while Nona watched. The next thing we knew, water started pouring down through the ceiling and into the kitchen onto our heads and onto the computer. I had no idea what to do, but Nona was quick to act. At 81 years old, she sprinted up the stairs to further investigate the situation with me trailing far behind her. Once we realized it was the bathroom that was flooding, we ran in and further realized that Mac had flushed a Dixie cup down the toilet. At this point, my brothers and I were hopeless and assumed that we had flooded the house. But Nona kept her composure, we helped her do a little trick, and the flooding miraculously stopped. Nona could have been very mad at us, but instead, she let out a sigh of relief, put us all back to bed, and poured herself a cup of decaf coffee. Every time I saw Nona, she was always trying to help, but would never expect anything in return. This is something I always admired about her, and I hope to be more and more like Nona as I get older. Nona lived a great life and carried the spirits of our older relatives within her, especially in her final years. Now it's our responsibility to carry on her legacy. Therefore, we should all strive to be more like Nona. Rest in peace, Nona. I love you, and we'll miss you. Oops.
Please rise as I say a prayer. I'm going to first say it in Hebrew, and then I'm going to say it in English. צדיק אתה אדוני וישר משפטיך, צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו וחסיד בכל מעשיו, צדקתך צדק לעולם ותורתך אמת. משפטי אדוני אמת צדקו יחדיו, אשר דבר מלך שלטון. ומי אומר לו מה תעשה, ובאחד ומי ישיבנו, ונפשו יבטה ויעש, עצור תמים פעולו, כי כל דרכיו משפט אל אמונה ואין עוול. צדיק וישר הוא דיין האמת, שופט צדק ואמת, ברוך דיין האמת, כי כל משפטיו צדק ואמת. המרחם מעקור ביותיו יחוס, ויחמול ויחם על נפש רוח ונשמה של רחל בת רבקה, רוח אדוני תניחנה בגרנן כל שוכבות עמה בכלל הרחמים והסליחות, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. Let God remember the soul of Rachel Brody Rachel bat Rivka, who went to her place of eternal rest. Please let her soul be bound up with living in the continuum of life, and may her rest be honorable. Grant her abundant joy in your presence and sweet pleasures at your right hand for eternity. Amen. God, who is filled with mercy, dwelling in the heavens' heights, grant perfect peace beneath the wings of your divine presence, amid the ranks of the holy and the pure, illuminating like the brilliance of the skies the souls of our beloved and our blameless who went to their eternal place of rest. May you, who are the source of mercy, shelter them beneath your wings eternally and bind their souls among the living, that they may rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the services here at the chapel. Memorial contributions in her memory to the Sephardic congregation would be appreciated. For those of you who are here, that information is on the service folder. For those of you who are online, that information is on our website. We also want to welcome the over 70 screens that are watching today, and the family greatly appreciates your presence. At this time, we're going to ask everyone to please rise and stand in place as we escort the casket of Mrs. Rachel Brody from the chapel. For those of you who wish to follow along, please come forward. The immediate mourners, children, kindly come into the family.